Less than 24 hours, Georgians will be under a shelter-in-place order.
McDonald, though, said he did not know the man was handcuffed and was trying to use his foot to pin him to the ground so he could be handcuffed.
If your friends, neighbors, or local organizations are not complying, report them to us.
Howdy, y'all, and welcome to the Free Georgia Podcast. My name is Jake Green. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any questions about this podcast, this particular episode, about liberty in general, about what our principles are over at the Libertarian Party, feel free to go to lpgeorgia.com to learn more. We have a whole bunch of different things going on the website. We've got information as far as what we believe, how to get involved, our platform, headlines, who our affiliates are in Georgia. You can do a whole bunch of, you can learn a whole bunch of different things about the Libertarian Party of Georgia. You can figure out what party agrees with you most by taking the world's smallest political quiz. You can watch one of our ads, just all sorts of stuff. There's plenty of stuff to learn about over there. And you can also contact us through the website. We're very happy to answer any questions, accept any feedback, that kind of thing. So coming up, we have, let's see if I can get this up, the Savannah pub crawl to banish Big Brother. And if you don't know what banish Big Brother is, you can go to banishbigbrother.com. And it's basically something that is being kind of rolled out underneath the radar, are these things called smart cities. And we are trying to relabel them as spy cities, because basically what they do is they get a whole bunch of information from you just by you living your life out in the world. So they'll have cameras, drones, heat sensors, temperature sensors, which I guess is technically a heat sensor. But they have a whole bunch of different biometric and video surveillance implementations that they can use in order to track you, know your whereabouts all the time, know who you're mingling with, and all sorts of different things. So if you want to learn more about that, go to banishbigbrother.com. And if you already know about it and you'd like to join in the anti-Big Brother movement, you can join us at the Savannah Pub Crawl on September 30th, Saturday, September 30th. Tickets are free. It's down in Savannah from 7 to 11 p.m. that evening. You can go to our website, lpgeorgia.com, to learn more. Well, today I have a very special guest here in Georgia, Miss Sammy Baker. She is running for city council. So let's talk to Sammy Baker. Sammy Baker, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you tell everybody what you're running for?
Yeah, so I am running for city council in Canton, Georgia. I'm in Ward 2, and it is a special election. So I will be elected or not this November 7th. There's 2 months.
Okay. And I think the correct thing is you will be elected November 7th.
I will be elected.
There we go.
I will be.
So what brought about the special election?
So our representative actually became a judge. So he had to leave his seat, which is fair. I don't really want somebody being in two different branches of the same government. So so yeah, he vacated his seat to become a judge, and it was just a weird situation where our city was changing some of the rules, and so they couldn't have a special election until they got those approved or whatever. And then by that time, it was like, well, we'll just add it to the special election and have it in November instead of, I guess the other option was in May, but they would have had to do other things. So it's a really weird situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super crazy.
Interesting. Yeah, that sounds very unique and exactly like government to
Yeah.
not do things the way they're supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about Canton for those who don't know, like how big it is, like what what Canton's like in general?
Yeah, so we're 45 minutes north of Atlanta, and we are a city of about 35,000 people, which was not anywhere close to where we were 2 years ago. So we are busting at the seams. There's just too much happening so fast, to the point where last year our city council actually put a moratorium on any new residential builds because
Wow.
it just was so much. So we are a very growing, awesome community. We have a rich heritage in Georgia. It's kind of a place that grows on you. I'm a Navy brat, so I've lived all over America. And I was born in California. I spent most of my life in San Diego.
Oh wow.
And this place has just gotten under my skin. It's community, it's everything that you want. And there's just a couple of things that need to be changed.
That's fair. That's awesome. What you said you lived most of your life in San Diego. When did you move to Canton?
I moved here in 2003.
Hmm.
I was I was a sophomore in high school. And so I moved, actually, it's a tiny little town called Freehome, Georgia. It is in the middle of nowhere. We moved there in August. The entire place smelled like chickens. It was awful. And I was like, I'm going back home. This is crazy. Why did you bring me here? And it's just the first time a boy opened a car door for me, I did the whole feminist thing where I was like, I can open the door myself. And he was like, listen, I was told that I needed to act as if my mother was behind me, whether she was behind me or not. So I will open your door. And I was floored. And it changed everything for me. Being here has been the absolute best thing.
Wow, that's awesome. What was it that made you want to decide to run for city council?
We had an issue in our very backyard, and there were some sketchy things that kind of happened that we ended up basically having somebody from the city come out and look at a problem that we thought was a businesses doing, that basically their drainage was coming into our backyard. And so I was like, I would really just like somebody to come out and take a look at this because it's doing a lot of damage. So they came out and they brought code enforcement with them. And I thought that that made sense because they were going to go see and make sure everything was up to code. No, they came into our backyard and they fined us for taking down trees that were about to fall on our own house. They spent 3 months taking us to court for it, and the tree company that we paid to have the trees removed. So
Wow.
So rabbit hole, I realized that the amount of ordinances and policies and things like that, they are all designed and all geared towards preventing citizens from doing what they want to do on their own property or having any sort of control over what they have already purchased. They want the control over your land. If you live in the city, you can't build a privacy fence. You can't drive a golf cart in your own neighborhood if you don't have the right permitting. The whole neighborhood has to have the same permitting. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's micromanaged to the nth degree, and paradise cannot be won that way.
Wow. That would absolutely infuriate me to have a bunch of people who I thought were going to come help me end up attacking me. That's brutal. Can you tell me a little bit about like who you are and your background and like how that led to getting politically active?
It's been crazy, very crazy. So I am, like I said, I'm a military brat. My dad was in the Navy for 20 years. We traveled all over. My mom was from Texas, so I
Yeah,
grew up.
Texas.
Oh, yeah, El
I'm from
Paso,
Texas.
Texas.
Oh,
So
okay. That's
I tell her that it's Mexico. Like she doesn't get to claim it. It's Mexico.
it basically is.
So it is. So, I grew up with both sides of the spectrum, and our house was always watching the news because it mattered so much to my father's life. This is pre 9/11. This is before veterans got thanked when they were walking down the street. So, it was different. So it's not that when did I get political, it's I've always been that. I've always paid attention to things because, bombings in barracks matter to kids like me more than they matter to kids whose dads aren't on the ships on the way to go and fix them, who then get bombed. So I've always been political. I've always paid attention. I've strongly disliked Joe Biden since 1994. And I think I was 4. So so that part was kind of always came natural, but I always leaned more Republican. And then I became a teenager and became a Democrat. And and then, really battled with something that Eric von Hessler talks about, the consistent thinking. You have to have that consistency of thought. Otherwise, it's a straw man's argument. So I started putting everything through the filter of, is this consistent thinking? So much to the point of, are you pro the death penalty? Well, in my heart of hearts, yes, I am. But do I want the government to have my permission to kill a citizen? No, I don't. So I have to have that conversation. And so just as far as being a stay-at-home mom, I told my husband, I said, I need a job. I need to do something. MLMs are not for me. I cannot sell you anything. I'm too realistic. I'm not going to do that. I'm also not everybody's sister. No. I can't be part of the PTA because I talk the way that I do. And they don't like that either. Yeah. So I had to find something, and I told my husband, I said, I'm just going to go get a job. I'm going to go get a job or whatever. And he said, okay, you have to find something that you're passionate about. And that really hit me because I really wanted to just do maybe like 2 or 3 shifts at Crumble Cookies so that I could get discount.
Oh, those are so good. I understand.
Good, right? And then he was like, you have to do something that you're passionate about. And I was like, so this is so long. I have ADHD.
No, you're doing, this is great. I love it.
I found the Libertarian Party. I got on base camp, and it was during we'll call it a kerfuffle with the this year's convention being on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it was my second day having logged into base camp and all of this was going on. And again, PTA, I've tried it all. I've been part of all of those groups. I've done party planning, all through all of this. And seeing all of that, I was like, okay, I'm new here, but this is what this looks like to me. And opening my mouth, less than 24 hours later, I had a phone call set up with Jared, and another one set up with Elizabeth.
Nice.
And Jared said, you know what I'd really like for us to do? I'd really like for us to do a gala. He was like, let's do a gala. Can you plan a gala for us? So now I'm in the process of planning this gala for the Libertarian Party. And I still have that. I want to do more, you know, I want to do something in my area that makes sense to me. And now it's turned into this thing where I want to see if I can do it. And I want to do it my own way. I don't want to do it the way everybody else has ever run a campaign, because I have different resources than most people do, because most people have 9-to-5 jobs. I have 4 friends with a Cricut. So I can make 100 yard signs for $300, or I can order 100 yard signs for $1,000 with a very steep discount. So I have different resources. I have things that other people don't have. I can go down to the courthouse at 3:00 in the afternoon because I just got done with carpool. I've got both my kids. They are going to get me in and out of there so quickly with 2 kids, with a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old. They want me gone. So they are going to get my stuff printed out first. They are going to make sure that what I need, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, we got you. And I'm always respectful. I make sure that my kids are sweet and well-mannered, but they still don't want the kids there. So I just think that it's possible for stay-at-home moms to do this and not go through burnout. And I want to prove that.
Man, I love that. That's amazing. I always love the idea of doing things different than they've always been done. I think there's good things to learn from, stuff that people have done in the past, but I don't think it's always necessary to do it the exact same way. I definitely prefer to do my own thing. And so I completely understand where you come from with that. Going back to how you changed your mindset and focused on consistent thinking. I think that is something that, I don't know, 90% of people don't do ever. I don't think people really analyze themselves and what they actually believe and what they actually think about, whether it be like political issues or moral issues or what have you. I think that's a super difficult process. And I think a lot of people would give up a part of the way through and just go ahead and live in denial for a while until that, until that schism kind of caught up to them. So I admire that. That is a really difficult path to take, and I'm happy you took it. That's awesome. Tell me about the gala. Tell me about what you're planning for the gala and what was the idea behind this?
So, one of the things, two of the things that I think that the Libertarian Party lacks, specifically in Georgia, is notoriety. If you say that you're a Libertarian in Georgia, they immediately respond like you live in your mom's basement and that you don't talk to people and that you are just an anarchist and whatever. So combating that is a big thing for me. The other thing is that I have cousins who have been involved in the rap industry in Atlanta, and the conversations that I have had with people around them, it would be a lot easier to convince that community to be a libertarian than anybody thinks. It's a difference between being talked at and having a conversation with. But getting in the room with people who are huge in the media industry in Atlanta, it's hard to get in the room with those people. So, so figuring that out is kind of the big thing. But I want to change their opinion about what it means to be a libertarian and see that there is a bigger picture here, and it includes things like the incarceration rate and the private the private prison systems and how our school systems are dealt with and the education of our communities and things like that. Those things that they preach about and they say that we need to do better. Okay, well, we've done it this way. We've done it this way. Will you at least listen to our way? And more people are interested in finding that other way. More and more people are interested in going, okay, well, they lied to us and they lied to us. I think the other thing that they need to be told is, if you're going to send a Republican up there, then automatically you know that if they find anything that has an R on it, you're not going to see it. And if you find anything that has a D on it from somebody with a D, you're not gonna see it. So sending people with independent background, the libertarians specifically, to places like the Secretary of State, where voting rights, where that's their policy, that's where they are. So we're trying to have statewide ballot. That's where we need to be. That, getting that person elected. So the dream is to get these people in a room and get the people up on stage who can convince these people of, Elizabeth's Big Brother campaign, all of the different things that we can do, that our policies as libertarians can help in Georgia. And that with their support and their money thrown at us instead of being thrown at the Democrats and Republicans that have just been perpetuating the system, that actual things can happen, because we can change the actual ordinances and policies and all of those little things that the bureaucracy has used to destroy what we have here. We can turn around and with these smaller municipalities, starting from city council to county and so on and so forth, change the verbiage, make it easier to understand, make it so that it is, if this law applies to you, you should be able to understand it. You shouldn't have to have a law degree to understand what you can and can't do in your own city.
And I love that. That is fantastic. It's weird, but that got me like pumped about everything.
Yes.
I like your vision.
Sorry. So back to the actual gala. So we're going to have a live auction. We have 2 huge prizes. It's going to be 2 different vacations. So those are 2 of the big prizes. We'll have marketing going out for that. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to get businesses in Georgia to donate experiences like hang gliding, things around the city, the scavenger hunts, stuff like that. We're going to auction those off. And then we're going to do a silent art auction. The theme for the gala is going to be the future of freedom. So all of the art, that's going to be the prompt that we're going to get the artists to create the art that will then be silently auctioned throughout the event. So
okay, man, I'm pumped. You got to stick around after the credits and we got to talk about that a little more.
Sure,
because I'd like to try to help with that a little bit if you need me.
I'd love it.
As far as your city council run, can you tell us why specifically, what specifically you're running on, and what kind of your message is during your campaign?
So currently we have just recently approved a art installation in our city. that I believe is costing us somewhere around $1.3 million.
Huh?
Yeah.
Is
But
Hunter Biden doing it?
right? So I love art as much as the next person, and I think that it's an absolutely fantastic. It's so valuable to society. It's integral to society. It's what holds everybody accountable. But it is not paid for by taxpayer dollars. That is crowdfunded. That is not government funded. That's insane. So, and especially not at that level. If you're going to do a plaque or a nice statue commemorating something, we'll talk about that. But $1.3 million, no. So especially when there are definitely things that we need fixed in our city that money could have gone to. So that's my big platform. The thing is that I'm only there for a year. So the big push is that I can do it, and that I can. The other one is I want to work with a couple of the law schools in Georgia and go through our ordinances and have a layman's terms copy of it. So these are our ordinances. This is what that means.
Right.
So I want to start going through and doing that and start building those blueprints of how we can get other smaller municipalities to go through and change their verbiage and things like that in those ordinances as well.
Wow. I like that a lot. I think when people start looking into laws and what they can and can't do, just going through one section of a law book is exhausting and confusing. So trying to get that in terms where people can actually understand it, I like that a lot. And I think people would appreciate that. Because I mean, half the time, there's so many things that I know that's in the laws that I can't do, but I can't ever find it because it's all confusing jargon that I don't understand, and I don't have a degree in how they're doing all this stuff. So, yeah, I like that a lot. That's a good one. Yeah, how can people support you? How can people find you? How do we?
So
yeah,
I have a website. It is Sammy for City Council. That's SAMMY for City.
Uh-oh. Think we lost you for a moment. We'll just stick around for just a second to see if she comes back on. It's Sammy for City Council. .com. You can see it if you're watching the video. It's on here. It's also in the podcast description. I believe her internet may have just gone out, which is not unusual in Georgia. Mine goes out regularly. So let's remove her real quick. So yeah, in case she doesn't come back, it's sammyforcitycouncil.com. You can also follow her on her Facebook page, which is Sammy for City Council. And her TikTok is BakerMommy1210. Looks like she's going to try to hop back on here in a second. Let's see if that happens. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the Canton area and you have a voice, you have friends, you are involved in politics, please spread the word about Sammy's run for city council, because we need more people like her in our government system to help, bring more liberty and freedom to our lives and the lives of the people around us. So yeah, make sure if you're in the Canton area or people in the Canton area, have them look up sammyforcitycouncil.com to learn more information about her campaign. And I'm going to try to stick around for just a second to see if she hops back on. And we're back. Sammy, welcome back. Yeah, how can people, help your campaign, donate to your campaign? Where can they find you? All that good stuff.
So my website is sammyforcitycouncil.com. So you can go on there and there's a donate page. There's also Venmo if you want to do that as well. It goes to the same place. There's also Sammy, or it's at Sammy Mommy 1210 for TikTok, and I'm on Facebook at Sammy for City Council. So yeah, you can go there, support me, get in touch. I'd love to meet up if you are in the Canton area and you have an HOA, anything you want me to come and talk to you guys. I'm here for it.
Awesome. Well, Sammy, thank you so much. We're rooting for you.
Thank you.
We'll do whatever we can to help you with your campaign. You heard it, folks. SammyForCityCouncil.com. If you have any questions about Libertarian Party in general, you can go to lpgeorgia.com to learn more. You can contact me at podcast@lpgeorgia.com. That'll do it for this week. Sammy, again, thanks for joining. Don't forget to tune in on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. for Liberty Libations, and every Monday night for Free Georgia Podcast. Sammy, we'll see you later.